Hopefully that worked.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, so counselors are there. We can start the meeting.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here this evening for you all. It's morning here in Denver, if you didn't know, but appreciate you taking the time to listen to some of our updates and our information about CU Denver specifically. And if you haven't met me before, I've been working for CU Denver for about a little over 2 years now. And my name is Emma Muirhead. And so I manage all agent communications with my student assistant, Sumaya, as well as contracts, commissions, onboardings, and trainings, and all of that. So if you ever need anything, my information will be at the end of this presentation. During the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat and I'll try to answer them as we go along. Otherwise, there'll be time at the end for any pending questions that I didn't go over throughout the presentation. So it's a lot of information. Bear with me. I'll try to go through it quick but painless. So let's get to it. Right. So if you don't know about CU Denver, this is just kind of an introductory overview of our school, but we are mid-sized, and sorry, my screen over here is acting crazy. We are mid-sized comprehensive public research university, R1 accredited research university, so really great for students that are trying to get into areas of research. There's a lot of grant funding with that. We have about 15,000 students, and 7% of those are international. And we're trying to grow that number, trying to get to 25,000 students and 10% of those being international in about the next 10 years. So um, we have lots of different schools and colleges. I'll go over those more in depth. And we have this all on our website as well. And we also have an ESL Academy on campus, which an update there is we just officially got permission to have an IELTS testing center at our school as well. So that's another opportunity for students coming to the US that want to study English, and they can also do their IELTS testing at our school as well. And we are located in Colorado, so we're known to be in the west of the United States, and Denver is our capital city. So students that come to our school are going to a very urban campus. They can walk to tons of different things, and I'll get into that a little bit more as well. So we do have a pretty high quality of life in Colorado. We're known for our 300 days of sunshine, so we have really great weather. But we have all 4 seasons, so it snows in the winter, but it'll be snowing and it'll be sunny at the same time. It's very weird. I don't know why that happens, but it's great. We have a pretty strong economy, being a pretty big city in a western part of the U.S. And I'll go over some of those industries during the career slide, but we have a lot of oil and gas and outdoor recreation, music industry. So it's a really wide range of economy as well. And we have our own public transportation system. So no student should need a car if they come here, unless they live really far away from campus. But we do have trains, buses, bike routes, things like that that students can take part of. And some fun stuff about our city. We do have a lot of professional sports teams. I don't know if you follow NBA, but our basketball team won last year the national championship. Our hockey team won that last year as well. But we have, football, soccer, all types of things. We have really great music venues. One of the best in the world is Red Rocks. and tons of restaurants. So students can get food from home very easily in our city, and they can even have it delivered to them. So it's really nice for students that want that sort of atmosphere. But also there's something for students that love the outdoors. So we're known for our outdoor recreation, our national parks, and hiking trails, biking trails that are only 30 minutes away from campus. So really great place for everyone, really. And so this is a slide that goes over our priority programs, and this is mainly for students that are being recruited from India. So applies to you, but this is just it's not like anything set in stone. It's just a guiding practice for agencies because we get a ton of students that are coming, and I'm sure you can see this from students that are applying to schools that want to go to the computer science MS, information systems MS, and business analytics MS. Those are saturated specifically with Indian students. Not that that's a bad thing. We love it. We'll take those students, but we would love to have some students that are recruited for all these priority programs on the left. So, anything that's undergraduate, obviously, we're always looking for more undergrad students. Our ESL and Links Direct for the English language learning, and graduate programs accept those three. But again, that's not to say we won't accept them. We just want, students to come over here and be in classes with other students other than, Indian students. So it's not a big problem, but it's just something to look out for when we're talking to students. Okay, so getting into our top undergraduate programs. So this is not an exhaustive list of all of them because I'm not going to go over every single program with you all, but these are just some of our highlighted programs that we tend to get a lot of interest in. So obviously our engineering, design, and computing is one of our most popular schools. These are all STEM designated degrees. They're all 4+1 degrees. So a student that takes a bachelor's degree in 4 years can get their master's in one at our school, which is a great opportunity and saves them money. So, all of the engineerings and then the computer science BA and BS are available for students. Our business school, so it's AACSB accredited. We have lots of different programs from accounting, information systems is a popular one. Entrepreneurship is a new one that we have for students. And then we have a lot of great opportunities within our business school because they're so connected to the business community around Denver. So there's a lot of centers that students can take a part of. So Center for Commodities, Center for Entrepreneurship, lots of research, and then tons of different internship fairs, career fairs for business students as well as other students, but that's something the business school is known for. And then other areas. So our College of Arts and Media is a really cool school for students. It has a lot of unique programs that a lot of other schools don't have. So things like film and television, a music industry, visual arts, they have 3D graphic design, digital design, things like that. So a lot of really great alumni that have come from our school that work in the arts and media industries. So, professional music people, people that work for Pixar. So it's a pretty rewarding school and programs in there. We have our classic, liberal arts and sciences, so all the basic arts and, chemistry, math, sciences, things like that, that students want to take part of. We have a School of Education and Human Development, School of Public Affairs, and then a College of Architecture and Planning, which is pretty unique as a lot of schools don't have a BS in architecture, but we do, and a portfolio isn't needed for that. So it's pretty easy for students. Okay, and getting into, sorry, I'm trying to get this thing out of the way. Sure. Your top graduate programs. So a lot of these are similar, but especially in the College of Engineering, Design, and Computing. So we have all the same, for the most part, engineering programs and the computer science. There's a computer science and information systems PhD for any students that are wanting that, all STEM designated again. Our business school, we do have an MBA with 15 different specializations that the students can choose from. And we have three different STEM designated options for students. So accounting, business analytics, and information systems are all STEM designated and makes them pretty popular for students. But again, there's lots of other things, international business, marketing, entrepreneurship. So great programs there. And then School of Public Affairs, our Master of Public Administration is ranked the top 25 in the US. So it is a pretty prestigious program for anyone wanting to get into that realm of study. I'd highly recommend it. And we also have a Master of Criminal Justice. So that's our closest thing to anyone that's trying to pursue a law degree or something close to it. But we don't have law at our school. And then College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, we have STEM designated master's degrees, as you can see there. Architecture and planning, our urban design program it just became STEM designated. I haven't updated this slide, but that's something for you all to know, in addition to the architecture and landscape architecture programs. So really great opportunities there. And then we partner with the graduate school at the Anschutz Medical Campus for some bio degrees for students. And, you know, there's also a ton of programs at the Anschutz campus as well. All of those are listed on our website. And then School of Education and Human Development, tons of different masters and PhDs there. You can do EdDs and things like that within that school. So, all right, so those are all of our programs. And this is just something that we like to tell, you know, agents and students, because careers are probably one of the main things that students are looking for when they're coming over to the US and, you know, making some of that money back that they spent on their degrees. And so we love to tell them, you know, what the return on their investment is. And that usually comes in a form of a paid job. So like I said before, we're really connected to the businesses and the communities around our campus, whether that's a business or, you know, the arts and venues, the sports people around. So there's a lot of different industries other than business, but you get what I'm saying. So again, like the research opportunities, because we are an R1 school, are really prominent. We have our own career center, so students can go to that center, you know, perfect their resume, get help with applying for jobs. There's resources available for them and tons of different, you know, networking opportunities. So the career fairs, internship fairs, and things like that. So 90% of graduating international students were employed via OPT. It's a hard number to really get specific, but that's for the most part accurate. A lot of students do get employed through OPT. And yeah, we are the best place for number 4 best place for businesses and careers in the US. And some of these blocks at the bottom are some of the businesses that are the most popular within Denver itself. So you'll see, you know, electronics, a lot of health related industries, outdoor industries, entertainment, banking, and things like that. And I just throw this in as first for anyone to get an idea of, you know, how easy it is to get to the US, specifically Denver. So that's just a fun fact for everyone. And student life. So we have a pretty diverse student population, not just in terms of, you know, ethnicity and background, but in terms of we have students that range in age, you know, from 17 to 60. So it's a university for lifelong learning. Students come back to school as, you know, they've had children, they're in their professional working careers, and they come back and get a degree. And so that's something we really love to share with people because I feel like they have an idea of what a university should be, and we're pretty non-traditional in that respect. But we do have students, domestic and international, from 65 different countries. We have a lot of resources for those students. So we have a wellness center for them. We have a health center for them. There's lots of club and intramural sports. We don't have D1 sports. We just don't have the space in our city. And then class sizes are usually, you know, 17 students to one professor, really depending on the program though. And students get discounts, and we also have, a really safe and welcoming environment on campus. We have our own police team, their area police department, that are available 24/7. So I've never heard of any problems on campus in terms of student safety. We have a pretty good system in place for that, for anyone that's concerned about safety, especially in Colorado. All right. And so, after students are admitted and they get their visa and they get to do all the fun stuff like booking their flights and figuring out what housing and where they're going to live, we have some on and off campus housing options for students. So on campus, it's not required for students to stay on campus, but it's not guaranteed either because space is limited. So students will have to apply to live in our dining hall or our residence halls. And hopefully they can get a spot, but they'll be living with their roommates. They're all fully furnished. So it's pretty easy for them to just sort of transition into if that's something they want to do. Otherwise, I know a lot of students, especially grad students, live off campus and share apartments with other students, and they get connected through our team, which helps with transition and engagement. So there's WhatsApp groups where they can, chat with other students and, ask if there's any spaces in apartments that are available, things like that. So being in a city, it's really nice because there's tons of different options for apartments, and this is our rail system. So it's pretty easy to get a ride into campus as well. So there's lots of options for students there. All right, finally getting into the actual application requirements. So with undergraduates, it's a lot more simple than the graduate side of things. Basically, all that we need is the online application, which students fill out on our website. And then $75 application fee, which is waived when they tag GB during the application process. I'll show you what that looks like a little bit more towards the end for both grad and undergrad. They're complete transcripts. So they're 10 and 12th grade boards, if that applies to them, and their 11th grade, transcripts. So at least 3 years worth of high school grades. And then, if other things apply, if they're taking Cambridge exams, things like that, we'll need to have any sort of exam with their scores and the subject areas as well. And then proof of English language proficiency, which I'll go over the different ways that a student can satisfy that. So additional admission criteria for the following can be found on admission websites, but usually for the College of Architecture and Planning, they'll need a specific GPA. Same for the engineering, design, and computing. The GPA needs to be at least at a 3.0 on our scale. So our admissions decisions, so we usually turn those around in about 5 to 10 business days. Starting August 1st, we'll be opening the spring 25 and fall 25 applications. So I can probably say that, as soon as all those applications start coming in, that turnaround time will be closer to the 10 days, but we try to stick to at least 10 days, even during our busiest moments. And then these are the application deadlines. So right now, the deadline for fall is closed for anyone outside the US, but if anyone's inside the US and wants to transfer in, they still have a couple days to do that. And then for spring, that deadline will be December 1st for anyone outside the US. So when students are submitting their documents, usually they are uploaded with their application, but if they're still waiting on, the grade 12 exam, they can always send that to intldocuments@ucdenver.edu, and we can upload that for them after the fact. Please don't send any resumes, letters of recommendation, financial documents for an undergrad. We don't need that. It's not going to do anything for their application. So just stick to the minimal documents that we need, and it's easy as that. So I know it feels like something's missing, but it's really not. And then these are the ELP scores that we accept. So We have, your basic IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, PTE. So those are all the different scores and sub-scores. We also, ACT and SAT isn't required, but if they have those scores on the English section, so the 480 or the 18, we'll accept that as proof of English language proficiency. And then if they're taking AB or AP or IB classes, they can get specific scores for that. This is for anyone that's coming from African countries. So if you have anyone that you're recruiting there, a lot of different African exams can count towards ELP. The one that's probably more applicable here are the GCSE, IGCSE, and O levels. So if they get a C or a 4 in any of those exams, we can count that as ELP as well. But I put this up there because you never know where you're going to recruit from. So. Okay, and one of the fun things I love to talk about is our scholarships for undergrad. So we have our automatic merit scholarships. So these are the ranges of GPA that students need from cumulatively from all their years of high school and their transcripts. We'll take that, and if it's within this range, they'll automatically be awarded this amount in their admission letter. So really great opportunity for students to get extra money. This is for undergrads and transfer students only. So for an undergrad, it would be for 4 years, repetitive, and then for a transfer, it would just be for 2 years. And this is as long as they maintain, full-time student status and at least a GPA of 2.5, which is pretty manageable, I think, for students. Our additional merit scholarship, this is an application-based scholarship. It's highly competitive. I would say, out of 80 applicants, maybe 8 get an award, but it is possible to get both. It's definitely happened before, and this is, application based off of students' writing, how creative they are, why they want to come to CU Denver, what their interests are, their background and activities. This opens August 1st with the application, so students can apply for this. The priority deadline for this for the spring would be October 1st. So just make sure students are getting those in if they want some extra opportunities for funding. I always encourage students to reach out to their school or college that they're admitted to see if there's any program-specific scholarships or things like that, because, professors have really good insight into different grants and things like that they could, pass along. And then we do have external scholarships. So as soon as a student is admitted, they'll have access to this scholarship universe. And there's thousands of different scholarships based on different criteria that they can apply for. And this is a big one for the graduate side. All right, tuition and finances. So this is still in the works of being updated for the 24-25 school year. I do anticipate that it'll go up a little bit, but not by thousands of dollars, but usually that's the trend. But this is pretty basic in terms of the total amount based off of a 9-month period, so 2 semesters, broken down into the different categories. But so this is really based on 24 credits. A lot of students take 30 credits their first year, or 15 credits one semester, 12 credits the next. So really, I would really hit home to them, the more credits you take, the more you have to pay during that semester. It's really based on cost per credit. So if they're expecting, this, but they're taking more credits, I would, steer them in a different direction there and say, it's going to be higher. This is, just an average between all the schools and colleges. We do have a tool on our website that they can look and see, if they're admitted to CEDC, what would their actual price be, or what it would be closest to, compared to the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. So it's going to be different by like $1,000 or $2,000. So, but that makes a big difference for students. So a really good opportunity that a lot of international students take advantage of is our on-campus employment. So all students can work on campus 20 hours a week during their school year, 40 hours during the summer breaks or holidays. And our minimum wage right now is $18.29 at CU Denver. So students can make, upwards of $20,000 depending on how much they work, which is a really good way for students to support themselves. They can pay off their tuition in a payment plan. They don't get billed for tuition until about a month after they start classes so we want to make sure a student is enrolled and they're, set with their classes before we start billing them for their tuition. And then we do accept loan options for any students that want to go that route. So Prodigy and Empower are two that we partner with. I know one needs a cosigner, one doesn't. So maybe looking into that more if students are interested. Okay, and moving on to the graduate application. So a little bit, if you haven't seen my newsletters or information on our website, we have switched over as of February 1st to not require the ECE or WEST evaluation anymore. So students now can choose if they want to do an in-house evaluation with CU Denver with our team for free, or they can still choose to do an ECE or WEST evaluation and pay that fee themselves. It seems like a no-brainer of what a student would do, obviously, but if someone's already completed an evaluation with another school, it might be easier for them just to do that. So we give them the option now. So that's the major change with that on the graduate side, but they still need to fill out the online application. We need their full and complete history of transcripts, and they need to be translated as well. Proof of English language proficiency, a GRE or GMAT if applicable. I'll go over that in just a minute. Letters of recommendation, those are uploaded by the recommender in the portal that students access. So they can't be, sent to us as an attachment. We can't upload those. It's a conflict. And then a resume or a CV, and then essay questions if students are applying to the business school, or a statement of purpose if they're applying to any of the other schools. We do accept 3-year bachelor degrees for all graduate programs. That's always a question that we get. Yes, we accept that. There's no problem there. And then the graduate schools are really specific in their requirements. So if a student ever has, a specific question, I would always encourage them to go and look at that specific website, especially when it comes to application deadlines, because they are all different and it's really hard to keep track of all of them. So on the graduate side, very similar in terms of the tests that students can take. And some graduate programs require higher TOEFL minimum, and this is one of those things that looking into specific programs makes sense for these small little details. So this is just for a lot of programs that are at a higher level. They want to make sure students have the proper level of English for the program to actually for them to be successful in the program and understand all the different material that's coming at them. So, and then the GRE and GMAT requirements. So you can see by school where a GRE or a GMAT is required versus not. It is required for all programs in the business school. There are waivers. I'll show that in a second as well. There's no GRE minimums, but the 50th percentile or around a 300 score is a good rule of thumb. But really, it's not required for a lot of the other programs unless students have a low GPA or if they have, a large number of backlogs too. So in terms of waiving the GMAT requirement or the GRE, there are ways to do that. So for our top programs, business analytics, students need at least a 3.25 GPA plus 5 years of work experience. Information systems, they need a 3.3% or 3.3 GPA, 67% or higher, and 3 years of work experience. So you'll see some of the different requirements here that students can do, and that can be waived during the application process, and they'll just need to, submit a letter that says, this is why I believe I don't need to take the GRE GMAT, blah, blah, blah. So they're not guaranteed though. They can, request this waiver, and then we can look at their their transcripts, not we, but the graduate school, and say like, oh, they didn't do very well in that class. I don't know about this. So there's a lot of different things that go into this, and there's a lot of different things that can be balanced out. So in terms of this, getting into like the backlog side of things, and by the way, a GRE and GMAT is not required for the computer science degree. I think that gets confused a lot, but it's not. However, since computer science is one of the main programs that students apply to, students can't have any more than 5 backlogs that are accepted. And this is where, if a student comes in, they have 6 or 7 backlogs, but they had a GRE score of, above 300 plus work experience, that's something that could probably balance out their application. So as an example, again, that's not guaranteed. The admissions committee could say, you know what, they have more than 5, even with that high score, we're not going to accept them based off of where they failed their classes. So it's very specific and very case by case basis, but that is a pretty strict minimum for computer science, though. And I have this as a competitive applicant profile because there are so many applications that come into these 3 programs, like I said at the beginning, that, if a student has a 3.3 GPA, no backlogs, and they have that work and research experience, they are probably a sure bet that they'll get admitted. When they start getting into backlogs, the business school doesn't have a minimum for backlogs, but if it starts getting up until 10 or more, especially in classes related to business, they'll want to see, a higher GPA, a higher GMAT score, and then some really great work experience to balance that out. So really all depends. Something to note is that the deadlines for applications are earlier for computer science. So that September 15th, it's a pretty quick turnaround for students. August 1st to September 15th. So just make sure anyone that's looking at those programs to get their applications in on time. All right, and then this is the grad tuition based off of an annual 12 credits per 9 months, so 6 credits per year. That's full time as a grad student. So a lot of their living expenses come in the form of, where they're living, if they're living by themselves, which a lot of grad students do. So it's a little bit higher for them. And then I have, same sort of stuff in terms of funding opportunities, but the biggest one we point students to is Scholarship Universe. There are assistantships available, but because a lot of students, especially from India, are so concentrated in those 3 programs, it's not very likely that they'll get an assistantship in the programs that they're in because there's so much competition there and it's really hard to do that. So I do recommend grad students to just get an on-campus job as they first get to the university to at least start getting some form of financial, support, and then kind of seeing who they connect with and what professors they are working with and going from there. So it's always worth asking what funding's available at the graduate level or the graduate schools. It changes every year. So I do tell students to do that. But yeah, so it's a little bit more scarce in terms of funding at the graduate level, but loans are always an option there too. Okay, and then graduate processing. So this really depends on the school or college. Again, those are the deadlines up top. The deadlines really vary by school or college, like I said before. So just double checking websites is a good rule of thumb. Application processing. So our credential evaluators, our in-house ones that are doing the in-house credential evaluation, they're turning around applications right now in 3 to 5 days. It's very quick. Again, like I said, that's before August 1st, so it might get a little busier, but we did hire 2 new credential evaluators, and they are very fast. So our turnaround time is very quick, but as soon as we hand it over to graduate schools, they all have their own specific timing. So the business school will probably do, a week turnaround. All other schools, 1 to 2 weeks. Our School of Education, they'll wait until a certain date and then release all decisions. So it's very different depending on the school or college, but I'm always happy to reach out to a school rep if you're waiting on an application for a really long time and haven't heard anything back, because there could just be a problem with our system. So just keep that in mind. And then just finally, for anyone that wants to attend our ESL Academy, this is just some more information and the tuition and cost. We do have, scholarships if students attend the ESL Academy, if that's something that they're interested in. It's a good opportunity to get on campus, before semester start and, get to know other students. And so it's really rewarding for them. We also have a Links Direct Pathway program for students that are not quite at the level of ELP that we need. So if they had a 6.0 in IELTS or a 70 in TOEFL, they could take the Links Direct, which is just the level 5 of our ESL plus degree credit bearing courses, and then sort of transition into whatever degree program they wanted. So there's scholarship amounts for however many levels a student completes at our ESL Academy. So if they complete one level, so say they just came in for level 5, they'd get $1,000 every year towards their degree. If they came in and did all 5 levels of ESL from beginning to end, they'll get $5,000 every year as a degree seeking student. And then if they complete Links Direct, they'll get a $2,000 scholarship for every year. All right. These are the final things. I'm almost done, I promise. Tagging students. So for the undergrad, it's going to be under section 3, enrollment info. Did you apply with the help of an education agent? They'll click yes and tag you. Graduate, it'll be under the how did you hear section. Paid tuition or so again, commissions aren't available for any of the Anschutz Technical campus or extended studies programs, and there are commissions eligible for ESL and then downtown Denver campus programs. And then for just a reiteration of what I do and what Sumaya, the student assistant, does is broken down here. So any application questions, please send those to her. You're fine to CC me if you need to, or if you're not hearing back, please email me. But you should be receiving a weekly agent report, and then a monthly agent newsletter. One just was sent out, I believe, this afternoon for everyone. But yeah, I'm your contact for any commissions, trainings, affiliations, contracts, and Sumaya can just do any documents that students need uploaded or checks on application statuses, things like that. Okay, that's it. Thank you for listening all this time. Sorry it's so long. I'll go back and just leave it on this page. But I'm happy to answer any lingering questions that you all may have. Yeah, so application fees are waived for both undergrad and graduate applications when the student tags you all. Yes, the TOEFL and GRE Home Edition is accepted. It's a good question. Good question on deferral process. So if a student wants to defer, they can reach out to our INTL admissions, put that in the chat, email, and just say, I want to defer to whatever semester, and they'll fill out a form and submit that deferral request. We usually defer applications in a day or two for students. And so a student can defer up to a year after their at midterm. So student applied for fall 2024, they can defer up to fall 2025 before they have to submit a new application. For anyone that's, applying for fall 2024 right now, that's outside the US, we're automatically deferring them to spring during our admissions committee for undergrad. But otherwise, students, if they know they want to defer already, or if they didn't get their visa, we can do that pretty easily for them. We don't have an I-20 deposit at all. So I'm not sure what NAAC is, but I would assume if it's related to the 3-year program that's accepted, I can ask our graduate credential evaluator about that, but I can double check. There's an app fee waiver for all programs that have an agent affiliation. So even though those 3 are most popular, that's still the application waiver is still eligible for all programs with agent affiliation. Sure. This one. This one. Credential evaluation timeline, yes. So undergrad, it's like I said, it was the decision process is pretty quick. I assume you're talking about for graduates. So credential evaluation for us in-house, which changed on February 1st of this year, takes 3 to 5 days currently. This is because we now have 3 credential evaluators instead of 1, as opposed to maybe last fall. What takes a little bit longer is for the applications to go from us after the credential evaluation to the graduate schools for their admissions decisions. So that can take up to 1 to 2 weeks, but with just an ESL I-20. But we have been writing for some students, at the bottom of their ESL I-20 that they do have conditional admission into a specific program. So if that's the case for the student, I would just reach out to an ISSS specialist and say, hey, can we have this written on their ESL I-20 that they're conditionally admitted into this program as well to help maybe their visa acceptance chances. English proficiency score reporting is required, yes. So we do need score reports. For Duolingo, those score reports need to be sent directly to the University of Colorado using our school code, which is 4875. That's the same with any, the SAT, ACT, and GRE, GMAT. Those need to be reported through, the College Board or forget the one off the top of my head for the GRE and GMAT, but using that school code as well. But for IELTS and TOEFL, we can verify those as long as you send us that score sheet. These are all great questions. Thank you all. And I can send this PowerPoint slide to you, which you can share around as well.
Sure, Emma. I think most of your questions have been answered. Thank you so much for the amazing presentation. And yeah, please do share this presentation to my email address so that I can share it with the team.
Okay, yeah, I will do that. Yeah, if any other questions pop up, let me know, but I'll ask about the NAAC and get back to you about that. But thank you all so much for your time this evening, and hopefully you all have a great weekend. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Sure, Emma. Thank you so much and have a great weekend for you too.
Bye.
Bye.